The clock on my bedside table flashed 12:03 a.m. when my phone buzzed against the wooden nightstand, shattering the silence of my tiny apartment. At first, I ignored it, assuming it was another late-night notification or some random message I could deal with in the morning. But then it buzzed again. And again. Something about the urgency made my chest tighten. Half asleep, I grabbed my phone and saw one name glowing on the screen, Emma. My best friend never called this late unless something was seriously wrong. I answered immediately, my voice rough from sleep. Emma. For a moment, there was only silence, broken by the faint sound of breathing on the other end. Then her voice came, barely louder than a whisper, fragile enough to sound like it could shatter. My home feels empty. Those 4 words hit harder than any scream could have. Emma was the kind of person who filled every room she entered with laughter, energy, and warmth. She was the friend who always had advice, always had a joke, always knew how to make life feel less heavy. Hearing her sound this broken felt unnatural, like the moon suddenly deciding not to rise. I sat upright in bed, instantly awake. What happened? I asked, already pulling on my jacket. She hesitated. Can you come over? That was all I needed to hear. 15 minutes later, I was driving through empty streets under the pale glow of streetlights, my mind racing through possibilities. Had someone hurt her? Had something happened to her family? Was she in danger? By the time I pulled into her driveway, my heart was hammering so loudly I could hear it over the car engine. Her house looked the same as always, warm porch light on, curtains drawn, flower pots lined neatly by the steps. Yet something about it felt different tonight, almost colder. Emma opened the door before I even knocked. She wore an oversized gray sweater, her hair messy, mascara slightly smudged under tired eyes. She tried to smile when she saw me, but it barely reached her lips. You came, she said softly. Of course I came, I replied, stepping inside. The moment I entered, I understood what she meant. The house was spotless, organized, and beautiful, yet it felt strangely hollow. No music playing. No scent of candles she usually loved. No comforting chaos of a lived-in home. Just silence. The kind of silence that presses against your ears until it becomes unbearable. Emma led me to the living room, where a single lamp cast a warm glow over the couch. She curled her legs beneath her and stared at nothing for a long moment. I didn't push her. Friendship isn't always about asking questions. Sometimes it's about sitting in the discomfort until the other person is ready to let you in. Finally, she spoke. Do you ever wake up and realize you've built your whole life around people who no longer need you? Her question caught me off guard. She laughed bitterly. My parents moved overseas last month. My brother is busy with his own family. Most of my coworkers are just coworkers. And Daniel, she paused, swallowing hard. Daniel was her boyfriend of 4 years. Or apparently, ex-boyfriend now. He left, she finished. The words fell heavily between us. I blinked. When? 2 weeks ago. My eyebrows shot up. 2 weeks? And you didn't tell me. She shrugged, looking ashamed. I kept pretending I was fine. I thought if I cleaned enough, worked enough, smiled enough, I could trick myself into believing nothing changed. Her voice cracked. But tonight I came home, opened the door, and it hit me. This place isn't a home anymore. It's just walls. I leaned back, letting her words sink in. So many people think loneliness only exists when you're physically alone, but that's not true. Sometimes loneliness lives in full houses, in long relationships, in crowded offices, in smiling faces. Sometimes it sneaks into your life so quietly you don't notice until midnight, when the silence finally becomes louder than your distractions. Emma, I said carefully, a house can feel empty because people leave. But your life isn't empty just because one chapter ended. She shook her head. Easy for you to say. No, I replied. Not easy. Just true. I told her about my own darkest season, the one I rarely spoke about. The year I lost my job, ended a relationship, and convinced myself everyone else was moving forward while I was stuck. I admitted how some nights I sat on my apartment floor feeling like I was disappearing from my own life. Emma listened quietly, her expression softening. "What changed?" she asked. I smiled faintly. I stopped waiting for life to return to what it was and started building something new. She looked at me as though considering the possibility for the first time. How? I glanced around her immaculate living room. Mess it up a little. She laughed, confused. What? This place feels like a museum, I teased. No wonder it feels lifeless. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and started opening cabinets. What are you doing? She asked, now genuinely amused. Making your house feel alive again. 20 minutes later, we were baking frozen cookies we found in her freezer, even though it was after midnight. Flour somehow ended up on the counter, chocolate chips spilled everywhere, and Emma was laughing for the first time all night. Real laughter. Not the polite kind people wear like armor. The kind that sneaks out unexpectedly and reminds you you're still capable of joy. As warm cookies filled the kitchen with sweetness, the house changed. Not magically, not completely, but enough. Enough to feel human again. Enough to remind her that emptiness is not permanent. We sat on the floor eating cookies straight from the tray, talking until nearly sunrise. Before I left, Emma walked me to the door. Her eyes still looked tired, but lighter somehow. Thank you, she whispered. For coming. I shook my head. That's what best friends are for. She smiled, this time for real. Maybe my home isn't empty after all. I stepped outside into the cool dawn air, feeling strangely hopeful. Sometimes people don't need grand solutions. They don't need perfect advice or life-changing speeches. Sometimes they just need someone to answer the phone at midnight. Someone willing to sit with them in the silence until it becomes bearable again. And maybe that's the lesson hidden inside all of this. No matter how empty life feels right now, it can be filled again. With healing. With laughter. With new memories. With people who choose to stay. So if you've ever felt like your own world was too quiet, too broken, or too lonely, remember this: empty spaces are not endings. They are invitations to create something new. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might need this reminder tonight. Sometimes one story can make someone feel a little less alone.